Just waiting a few seconds for others to get joined as soon as possible. Just waiting only for 2 or 3 minutes. Waiting for others to get joined as soon as possible. Okay, open your book. I'll be starting with Aunt Jennifer's Tiger. Okay. I'm starting. Okay, this is your last chapter in your syllabus. The last poem, only one poem is left. Today I'll be completing the syllabus. Then I will again start the revision from the first chapter and I will make you write the central idea of the poem. Okay? I'll dictate and you have to write. It's very important, the central idea of the poem. You can gather more information from them. Okay, so I'm starting. Aunt Jennifer's Tiger, written by Adrienne Rich. So Adrienne Rich, she is widely known for her involvement in the contemporary women's movement in the 20th century. Okay, at the end of the 20th century, and she is an American poet, essayist, and feminist. So I'll be starting with the poem named Aunt Jennifer's Tiger, written by Adrienne Rich. Aunt Jennifer's tiger prance across a screen. Prance means to jump. Okay, so here the poet is describing a lady whom she addresses as Aunt Jennifer. Okay, bright topaz denizens of a world of green. So what she is doing actually, so she says that Aunt Jennifer is embroidering. Okay, she is doing embroidery work on a piece of cloth. Okay, which could be a tablecloth or a wall hanging. So what Aunt Jennifer was doing during that time? So during that moment, Aunt Jennifer, she was embroidering on a tablecloth or a wall hanging. Okay, and the pattern which she was embroidering on the cloth shows tigers. And what those tigers are doing? Those tigers are jumping around all over the cloth. Okay, so this is a work of embroidery. Okay, so bright topaz denizens of a world of green. So those tigers, they are yellow, bright yellow in color, just like the gemstone topaz. Topaz is actually a yellow color gemstone, and the tiger, their color are bright as the yellow color of the topaz. Okay, denizens of a world of green. So she has designed with tigers, okay, and who are fearless, and they are jumping in the green background. So denizens of a world of green actually means the background is green in color, and denizen means the place where the animals live, the particular place where the animals live. So here Aunt Jennifer, she was embroidering on a piece of cloth. She was embroidering tigers, yellow colored tigers, and in the background there is a forest which is green in color. So that's why the poet described the tigers as bright topaz, and the background is green in color because they are living in their forest. Those tigers are in the forest. Okay? They do not fear the men beneath the tree. They pace in sleek, chivalric certainty. So the poet wants to say that these tigers are fearless and are not at all afraid by the presence of those men who are hunters and who are hiding beneath the tree. Okay? So these tigers are fearless. They are not afraid of anything. Okay? And they are running fearlessly in the green forest. Okay? So this is the pattern Aunt Jennifer is embroidering on a piece of cloth. They pace in sleek, chivalric certainty. Sleek means very elegant, and chivalric means an act of gentleman. So these tigers look elegant, shining, and full of the gentleman's grace. They are as graceful as gentlemen. So these are the description of the tigers which Aunt Jennifer, she was embroidering on a piece of cloth. Okay? So those pattern, the tiger reflects fearlessness, proudness. Okay? So Aunt Jennifer, actually, she was dominated by her husband. She got enough torture from her husband. She was leading an unhappy conjugal life. So through this embroidery, Aunt Jennifer reflected her fearlessness through this embroidery. Okay? She wanted to become free, just like the tigers who are running in the forest. She wanted to become fearless, but she is afraid of her husband as she is dominated in her conjugal life. Aunt Jennifer's fingers fluttering through her wool. So, when she was embroidering, her fingers were trembling. Fluttering means here trembling, shaking with the fear of her husband. She is pursuing her hobby, but though she is still afraid of her husband, because if her husband would see her doing embroidery, then he might scold her. Then her husband might scold her. So as she was afraid, her fingers were trembling while she was doing her embroidery on a piece of cloth. Find even the ivory needle hard to pull. So her fingers are so tired to do embroidery. She could not able to pull up and down the needle. Why? Because she was very much afraid of her husband. The massive weight of uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. Wedding band is the wedding ring. So this little ring, it has become heavy for her. Why? because she was leading an unhappy conjugal life. The little ring, described as a heavy band on her trembling fingers, because she has faced many difficulties in her married life. Okay? So that's why this wedding band, though it is a symbol of happiness, though it is a symbol of unity, but here this band, this wedding band, has turned into a massive weight. It is very heavy for her on her trembling fingers because she faced many difficulties, many tortures in her conjugal life. Sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. So which sits upon Aunt Jennifer's hand? The wedding band. So this ring, this wedding ring is associated with some bad experience in the form of torture. So that's why it has become as heavy for her. It has a massive weight for her in her life. She could not able to move away from her family. She is bound by her husband. When aunt is dead, her terrified hands will lie, still ringed with ordeals. Ordeals means severe experiences she was mastered by. The tigers in the panel that she made will go on prancing, proud and unafraid. So, she wanted to say in the last stanza that her desire for freedom, her desire of fearlessness, it remained alive in these tigers which she wanted to embroider on a piece of cloth. These tigers are symbols of fearlessness and freedom. They are not afraid of anyone. But here we can see Aunt Jennifer. She had faced many difficulties in her life. So when aunt is dead, her terrified hands will lie, still ringed with ordeals she was mastered by. So her ordeals, her severe experience in her conjugal life will end up with her death. Only after her death she could get relief from all type of harsh realities from her life, because she had received enough torture from her husband. The tigers in the panel that she made while go on prancing, proud and unafraid. So she had been bound or burdened by the obligations of her married life, and she is still burdened by the weight of that ring. So she had been leading a very burdened life. So her wish is that, her wish is to live free, a fearless life, indicated by the choice of her design. What is the design? The design of embroidering the tigers on a piece of cloth. Her innermost desire, overburdened, her fright and even her trouble, even her trembling fingers, it will be put on rest after her death only. So what she wants actually, her wish, her desire of freedom and fearlessness shall alive in those tigers which she had embroidered on a piece of cloth. Okay, so here Aunt Jennifer reflected her proudness, her fearlessness, her freedom, her innermost desires through this embroidery of tigers in the background of a forest. So she wanted to remain free, though her life had been overburdened by the obligations of married life. So this is all about the poem. This is all about the poem. Any question from your side? Any question? Am I clear to you? Am I clear? Which I have described, am I clear to you? Okay. Okay, just go through it. Next day, I will make you write all the central ideas of the poem. Okay? If you will be present, you have to write the central idea of the poem. I have completed the syllabus today. Till then, thank you very much and bye-bye.